Hi everyone. I'm going to I'm going to make a summary about the chapter 3, which is about interdependence and the gains from trade. This is a book, Principles of Economics of Gregory Mankiw. Uh, in order to explain better the interdependence between two countries, we're going to make an example which is represented in the book. So first of all, there are two goods in the world, so meat and potatoes. And there are two people in the world, a cattle rancher and a potato farmer. So each of whom would like to eat both meat and potatoes. It means that either the rancher and the farmer they want to consume both goods, okay? So the gains are most obvious if the rancher can produce only meat and the farmer just potatoes if they specialize in some way. So in this sense the trade would allow them to enjoy greater variety. So we are going to analyze the production possibilities of these two guys, the rancher and the farmer. So the farmer and the rancher each work, so we have a limit. So in this there is like a limit of time which is 40 hours a week. So they can devote this time to growing potatoes, raising cattle, or a combination of two. So here, this table summarizes the times for the farmer and from the rancher. So the hours needed to make one pound of meat and 1 pound of potato. So in this case, the farmer spent 20 hours for having one pound 1 pound of meat, and the farmer needs 10 hours for 1 pound of potato. And in the other side we have the rancher. So here in the other part, the hours needed to make 1 pound of potatoes for the farmer is 10 hours for 1 pound, and for the rancher is 8 hours for 1 pound of potatoes. So here is the limit. So here we have the amount produced in 40 hours. So what is going to happen if they devote all the resources just to one good? So for example, if the farmer devote all of their resources, which is 40 hours for meat, they are going to produce 2 pounds of meat and 4 pounds of potatoes if he just like produces just potato. In the other side, the rancher, she is going to produce 40 pounds of meat in 40 hours, and they're going to produce 5 pounds of potatoes in 40 hours. Okay, so this is the basic idea, and here is summarized all the information that we need to develop our problem. So next that we can have here production possibilities. So we are going to depict the information here again, all the information that summarized. So I'm going to start with the farmers production possibility function frontier, sorry, production possibility frontier. So we have in the y-axis we have the meat measured in pounds, and we have the potatoes measured in pounds. So here we have the limits. So if the farmer he just produces farmer potatoes in the 40 hours, there he is going to produce just 4 potatoes, okay, which is here. And if he just produces meat in the 40 hours, he is going to produce 2 pounds, is going to be here. So if I divide here in 2 and I divide here in 2 again, we have that this is going to be the if the farmer produces just the middle point of potatoes and the middle point of meat, he is going to have 2 pounds of potatoes and one pound of meat. In the other side, we have the ranchers production possibility frontier. We have the same in y axis we have the meat pounds, and in the x axis we have the potatoes pounds. So if the rancher uses all the 40 hours for producing potatoes, she is going to produce 5 pounds. On the other side, if she devotes all her resources in the meat production, she's going to produce 40 pounds. So if I divide both in two, we have the production and consumption for the rancher is going to be 2.5 and 20 pounds. Okay, so this is the situation without trade. But imagine that they talk each other and they realize that they can change their situations and they can make a commitment, they can achieve an agreement because they are tired of consuming the same A and the same B point for each case, and they realize that they can improve their situations with trade. So let's see how they can improve. So we are talking now about specialization and trade. So after eating the same combination, they decide to celebrate an agreement. So farmer can devote all his time to produce potatoes, and he can give to rancher 1 pound. This is the commitment, this is the agreement that they are like celebrating. So in return, the rancher will give him 3 pounds of meat. So now we have to guarantee that because of trade, both farmer and rancher, they are going to be better off. So this is the main point of trade and specialization. We are going to celebrate an agreement because I'm going to be better, but the other part, he or she is going to be better as well. So here we have the farmers production possibilities production frontier, which is again the same we had already here, but because he is going to he is going to produce just potatoes, so this is going to be the production, but because he has to give 1 pound to the other, the potatoes is going to be 3. Okay, so it's going to be 3, but instead of giving 1 pound of potato, he is going to receive 3 pounds of meat. So we see here how A star is better than A, because we have, instead of 2-1, we have 3-3 in order to consume. So the farmer is better off. But what about the other? What about the rancher? She's gonna be better off as well. So here is the A point is without trade, and this one A star with trade. So in the next case, we have the ranchers possibility production frontier. So we have the meat and potatoes. This is the initial point where is without trade. So given the trade, he is going to have 3 of potatoes and 21 of meat. So if you see, there was an impossible or unreachable point before trading. So B star, we see how is clearly better than B. So here is without trade, and B star with trade. But what about these numbers? Why 3 and 21? So I'm going to explain a little bit in order to grasp better the idea of that. Why? So in this case, again, we have the ranchers possibility production frontier. So we have here 5 and 40 as usual, but remember that in this case it's going to be B star. So first I'm going to find out the slope of this, okay, of this frontier. So how I need to like take the slope. I need to take 2 points. I'm going to take the first point, which is going to be 5 in a 5 0, and there is going to be 0 40. So these points they are known like I'm going to label as x1 and y1. The others they're going to be x2 and y2. So the slope formula is y2 minus 1 y1 over x2 minus x1. So we have y2 is 40, y1 is 0, x2 is 0, and x1 is 5. So we have here the slope is negative, and 40 divided 5 is minus 8. So here we have the equation of the general equation. So now we know that b is 40 because when x is 0, the point is 40. So once we have these points, we have already this equation. And now remember that the point is like I'm going to give to the I'm going to provide in this case to the order. I'm going to receive one potato, right? So I'm going to receive one potato. So now that I'm going to receive this one potato, so I'm just going to produce 2 because it's going to be 3. So this is going to be the production for the rancher. So now I'm going to multiply this minus 8, okay, times 2, and here I'm going to have the production of meat, but because of rancher is going to give to the farmer 3, I'm going to have like the remain is going to be 21. So it's going to be 21 and 3. These are the 2 points which came from this part, okay. So let's 3 that will give, so that she will give, in this case I'm talking about woman, so she will give 21, and the other is going to be 3. So now this is like the table that summarizes all the information. So the first, we have here the outcome without trade. So we have here the farmer and meat and potatoes, and the same thing for the rancher. All the products they are measured in pounds. So what they produce and consume. So when there was no trade, the farmer has 1 pound of meat and 2 pounds of potato. So in the other case, the rancher, when is without trade, she has 20 pounds of meat and 2.5 pounds of potatoes. So this is a point A, a point B. So here we are in the outcome with trade. So we have 3 different parts: what they produce, what they trade, and what they consume. What they produce, the agreement is like the farmer, he is not going to produce anything in meat because he is going to devote all his time in potatoes. So he's going to have 4 pounds of meat of potatoes. In the other case, as we said before in the equation, she is going to produce 24, and she is going to produce 2 pounds of potatoes. What they trade, he is the farmer, he's going to have 3 pounds of meat, which are going to be received by the rancher. On the other side, he's going to give one pound of potato instead of these 3. In the other side, the rancher meat, she is going to give to the other 3 pounds of meat, and instead of this she's going to receive 1 pound of potato. What they consume, so if you have here, we have the plus 3 0, we have 3, and 4 minus 1 is going to be 3. This is going to be the consumption. And what about here? It's going to be 24, the production, minus 3 pounds that she is going to give to the other is going to be 21. And it's going to be 2 potatoes and 1 that she is going to receive from the farmer. She's going to have 3 pounds. So this is the point A star and point B star. These are the gains from trade. So this is going to be the increase in consumption. So here we have, here without trade we have before 1, and when there was trade, he's going to have 3, so it's going to be 2 increase in consumption, and the other is going to be 3 minus 2 is going to be 1, which is A star minus A. In the other case, for the rancher, is going to be 20 with what she had before, and 21 that she had now, so 21 minus 20, and this is going to be 3 minus 2.5 is going to be 0.5. So we can summarize all the gains of the trade, why the trade is better for all countries, even when we saw that the ratio was like more efficient in both goods. So we're going to summarize this idea afterwards. So these two basic concepts in the trade. The first is absolute advantage. What does it mean? So if I'm talking again about the rancher and farmer example, we realize how the rancher needs 8 hours to produce a pound of potatoes. But in the other side, in order to produce a pound of potatoes, the farmer needs 10 hours. So who is more productive? The more productive in this case is the rancher. So the rancher is more productive if we are talking about absolute advantage. The absolute advantage is the comparison among producers of a good according to their productivity. So if we are talking about absolute advantage, we realize and we see how rancher, for both goods, she has the absolute advantage. Okay, the rancher has the absolute advantage in both goods. So why there is trade, and why there is an increasing in consumption, and why there is an increasing in welfare? So in this case, this is because the comparative advantage. So we can compare through opportunity costs. So what really costs to one producer to produce some good is the what they are giving up. So in order to grasp this idea, we have the rancher producing 1 pound of potatoes. She spends 8 hours of work. Then she lost this hour for producing meat, because she's producing just potatoes instead, because this hour you have a trade-off, remember, so you cannot produce both at the same time. So in this case you are giving up 8 hours of work, and in these 8 hours lost, because you are producing, or the rancher is producing potatoes, um, she can produce 8 pounds of meat. Okay, hence the cost of 1 pound of potato is 8 pounds of meat. This is the real cost, okay, for the rancher. If we are talking about the farmer, we see how producing 1 pound of potato takes him 10 hours, because he needs 20 hours to produce 1 pound of meat. Okay, so in this case we have this part, and these 10 hours that he is using producing potatoes would yet have pound of meat. Hence, the opportunity cost of 1 pound of potatoes is half of meat. Okay, now we can summarize this important fact because of these numbers is because we have trade. So maybe otherwise we can think about just like powerful countries that they have the absolute advantage, they are going to trade, but this is false. All countries, even the poorest, they have comparative advantage at producing some goods. Okay, so I can summarize the opportunity cost. So here for the farmer, here is the cost expressed in 1 pound of meat. So for the farmer is 2 pounds of potatoes, and for the rancher is 1/8 pounds of potatoes. In the other case, we have 1 pound of potatoes expressed. We have the farmer, the cost is half pound of meat, and for the rancher is 8 pounds of meat. So what does it mean? So the producer who has the smaller opportunity cost of producing a good, this has the comparative advantage producing this good. So he is going to produce this good. So in this case, the producer with the small opportunity cost of producing meat is the rancher. So we see here the meat, which is the smaller opportunity cost, is here is the rancher. So the rancher must specialize in meat. On the other side, the producer with small opportunity cost of producing potatoes is the farmer. So we see here potatoes, and he has the smaller opportunity cost. So the comparative advantage is given to the farmer. And in this case, what we can understand a little bit more about that. So the farmer in the trade, he gets 3 pounds of meat in exchange of 1 pound of potato. So what is the price? So the price is 1/3 pound of potatoes instead or of 1 pound of meat for 2 pounds of potatoes. So the price 1/3 is smaller than 1/2. So in this case, it's better the trade because it's cheaper for him receiving 3 pounds of meat in exchange of 1 pound of potato. Because if he doesn't do this operation, he must have to pay 1 pound of meat for 2 pounds of potatoes. In the other case, the rancher gets 1 pound of potato for 3 pounds of meat because she gives 3 pounds of meat and she receives 1 pound of potato. So her cost is 1 pound of potato for 8 pounds of meat. So we see here how before he has to pay 8 pounds of meat for having 1 pound of potato. So the cost is so high. But now with trade, he has to pay 3 pounds of meat for having 1 pound of potato. I hope it has worth for you. You can understand a little bit more the importance of trade, the importance of absolute advantage and comparative advantage. So see you the next video. Great success with economics, and see you later. Bye bye.